Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today. One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series, I'm going to be talking about blonde bust-down Anna Nicole Smith. All images in this video are used under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 in conjunction with my commentary in this video. Now, your Anna Nicole Smith was a very popular fashion model who was Playboy's 1993 Playmate of the Year and an aspiring actress who starred in multiple movies and her own reality show. However, your Anna Nicole Smith was on the road to becoming a woman in crisis since the day she was born. Now, your Anna Nicole Smith was born in November of 1967 in Houston, Texas, the only daughter of Virgie Arthur and Donald Hogan. And it looks like your Anna Nicole Smith was basically one of these children who was born out of wedlock, because your Donald Hogan went on to have 5 other children with another woman, and your Anna Nicole Smith was raised primarily by her mother and her aunt. And in that single mother household where your Anna Nicole Smith was poor, she was on the road to becoming a woman in crisis, because she was basically raised in a single mother household where it had no real moral position. And because her family basically had no moral position, your Anna Nicole Smith was growing up basically rebellious. And when she was in the 9th grade, she was sent to live with a maternal aunt because she had basically became so out of control at 14 years old that she wasn't able to follow at the authority of her own mother. And as she went to high school at Mexia High School in Texas, what happened to your Anna Nicole Smith is she failed her freshman year and then wound up dropping out of high school in her sophomore year. And as your Anna Nicole Smith went on in her rebellious and wayward ways with no moral center and no real structure, she went out here and then got involved with a guy where she was working at this Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken, a Billy Wayne Smith, who she married in 1985, I believe, when she was about either 16 or 17 years old. So she was out here, she married a guy very young, and she became a single mother just like her own mother about a year later when she gave birth to her son, Daniel Wayne Smith. So we went from one generation of single mothers to a second generation, and your Anna Nicole Smith was basically on the road to becoming a second generation woman in crisis, just like her mother, due to the dysfunctional way she was raised. Now, as your Anna Nicole Smith was out here trying to take care of her son, as after her husband wound up leaving her, just like her father left her mother, what your Anna Nicole Smith was doing was going out here and performing in strip clubs in Houston. So she was working at a Houston strip club for several years and wound up meeting the 86-year-old petroleum tycoon, J. Howard Marshall. Now, your J. Howard Marshall was basically an old simp who was looking to go out here and try to get the attention of your Anna Nicole Smith, and he got that attention by going out here and providing her with lots of expensive gifts that she couldn't afford for herself. And as he was out here spending lots of money on her and trying to get her to pay him some attention, eventually your Anna Nicole Smith got so caught up in much of the money and the gifts that your old simp, J. Howard Marshall, offered, that she eventually wound up marrying your J. Howard Marshall. And after she married your J. Howard Marshall, she was living in the lap of luxury, and as she was living in this lap of luxury, she was also on the rise as a model. And I believe that she basically got her modeling career because old simp J. Howard Marshall basically paid for her career with his connections in the entertainment industry. Because as a oil tycoon, he basically knew a lot of people, and this is where your Anna Nicole Smith wound up becoming very popular, modeling for things like your Playboy magazine, which she posed in 1992 as Vicky Smith, and she also was allowed to go out here and replace Claudia Schiffer in the Guess ads in black and white photographs, and that's when she changed her name from your Vicky Lynn Hogan to Anna Nicole Smith. So that's how she basically got most of her career, was basically, I believe, because old simp J. Howard Marshall basically paid for it. Unfortunately, even though your J. Howard Marshall paid for Anna Nicole Smith's career, basically it didn't really go that very far, because your Anna Nicole Smith basically did not have any sort of moral position. She didn't have any sort of moral values, and because she didn't have any sort of moral position or moral values, she could not go out here and set a course for her own entertainment career, and as a result, she started participating in the same dysfunctional behavior that she was participating in before she got involved with old simp J. Howard Marshall. Now, as your Anna Nicole Smith was very popular in the 90s from her posing in Playboy and becoming the Playmate of the Year, and then going on to pose in other ads like the Guess ads, she also started to look to go out here and expand her career into acting. Unfortunately, as your Anna Nicole Smith was trying to go out here and build her acting career, she really was not taken seriously by many in the entertainment industry, who basically saw her as a dysfunctional trailer park female, and because they saw her as a dysfunctional trailer park female, outside of a few minor supporting roles and minor bit roles in movies, your Anna Nicole Smith never really got really far in Hollywood as related to film, and after a while, she wound up being featured in guest spots on TV shows, and she also got featured in reality shows, and that was about it. So after a while, after doing some guest spots on shows like Veronica's Closet and Ally McBeal, your Anna Nicole Smith started to really decline in the 2000s, and over the course of that time, she was popular with tabloids and gossip columnists because she was addicted to drugs, and as she was addicted to drugs, her life was starting to spiral out of control. And a lot of people found it entertaining to watch the Anna Nicole show in 2002, which was the highest rated cable reality show. But watching this show was basically like watching a snuff film, because we were watching a woman's life basically fall apart right in front of us, and we were watching her trying to struggle with trying to go out here and maintain her floundering career with her boyfriend, an attorney, and her son, who was just struggling with his own addiction, and her assistant and a miniature poodle. It was just a show that was a complete wreck, that eventually ended when it was canceled in 2003. And after that, that's when your Anna Nicole Smith basically further went into decline, as she was out here dealing with all of the issues she was having with drugs, and over the course of this time, she did give birth to another daughter, but she was just so in such a mess that she just could not function as a human being. So that all is laid to the foundation of her being a woman in crisis, and she was a woman in crisis again from minute one, due to the dysfunctional way she was raised by her single mother and her aunt, and because she was raised in a female environment with other females, that she never really learned how to function and have a healthy relationship with a man. And this is one of the reasons why she got involved with an old simp like your J. Howard Marshall, because she didn't know how to function in a relationship with a man, and she also didn't know how to function in that marriage with Billy Wayne Smith, all due to the way she was raised inside of that whole household. That's why she was dropping out of school and wound up on this road to dysfunction. And your Anna Nicole Smith, sadly, was a woman in crisis. Even though she had great success, she never had anybody to give her guidance. And because she didn't have anybody to give her guidance, even though she had a lot, she did not have the most important intangibles as related to womanhood, and she didn't have and because she didn't have those intangibles, she was not able to function in life. And the whole thing was, her whole life became a freak show and a circus, all because she was raised in a dysfunctional fashion. And while people found this to be entertaining to watch your Anna Nicole Smith, who many feminists would say was liberated and empowered, it was sad because this woman had no real power in her life, no real control in her life, and the whole thing is, she couldn't really function at all. And the sad part is as she was raised dysfunctional, what happened was that her son wound up dying before her, and he died of an overdose of drugs right in the hospital as he was visiting her and his sister, who had just been born. And again, we watched, as with the Anna Nicole Smith story, we got 3 generations in crisis. We have the mother who was in crisis, Anna Nicole Smith, who herself was in crisis, and the son, Daniel Wayne Smith, who became a man in crisis because he was raised to become a beta male, as related to being raised by his own single mother. So this whole story of Anna Nicole Smith shows you how one generation of single mothers goes out here and breeds another generation of single mothers, and that generation breeds a beta male, and we get generations after generations who wind up in crisis. And as a result of them winding up in crisis, instead of these families growing up to build wealth, they wind up dying out because each generation learns a culture of dysfunction from the next generation. So when I look at the whole case of Anna Nicole Smith, yes, she was a blonde bombshell, but she wound up becoming a bust down over time, and she wound up going from having a social marketplace value that was high when she was young to, when she was 39 years old, basically falling into bust downtown, and sadly, as in her last days, was looking out as she was overdosing on drugs at the graveyard as related to the end of her life. And this just shows, again, the dark road that many women wind up on when they subscribe to the narratives of feminism and they think they can go out here and be the independent woman. What happens is they wind up in codependent situations like Anna Nicole Smith's mother did, and like your Anna Nicole Smith wound up falling into, because what happened with your Anna Nicole Smith was she learned a culture of codependency from her single mother, passed that on in her marriage, passed that on to her son, and again wound up on the road to becoming a woman in crisis whose life ended in a very tragic and extremely sad fashion. Now, if you want to learn more about why so many women in America are struggling in America and in their quest to have it all, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me do more videos about historical women in crisis, you can send a donation to the Cash App or the Patreon or the PayPal, and if I know something about that woman, I will make that video for you. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback and e-readers everywhere at online booksellers today.